Hello, fellow human beings, earthlings. My name is Raleigh Tandazani Chiuta. I was born in Zimbabwe, but I've been living in the United Kingdom for the past 2 decades. This ultimately has been a fascinating, transformative, educational, and inspirational experience. And this is why I sit in front of you today as a man on a mission. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Zimbabwe is a former colony of England, and I was born 4 years after independence in 1984. However, even then, the country was still racially divided, and most of the economic wealth lay in the hands of the white minority population. Hence, racial difference was one of my earliest life lessons. However, for those who know about Zimbabwe, you will know that today, in many ways, Zimbabwe is now a failed state, bankrupted and destroyed by a brutal dictator, Robert Mugabe, crushing the dreams and lives of millions. Hence, political, social, and existential strife was another of my life's early lessons. And it's this existential strife, being all consumed by it, which led me on the journey which finds me in front of you today. Over the past 15 years, I've been working on the project of writing my books, fueled by deeply seated and insatiable burning desire to transform the world. At some point in my early life, I became all consumed with a passion to answer life's seemingly impossible questions. Why is there racism? Why is there war? Why is there human suffering? What's the point of it all? What's the point of life? I asked anyone who would listen. I beseeched my elders, my parents, my father. And when the answers were not forthcoming, and I had no one left to ask, nowhere left to turn, I asked God. I asked the universe. Hence, a very lonely and painful journey ensued. But at the end of that journey, these books came out. The answers to the questions I had, and ultimately my message to the world. The Dichotic Dilemma, and the final edition. The Dichotic Dilemma, the Fabric of Life, the fourth dimension, from duality to reality. Both which are available on Amazon, and I will also be reading to you here free as a way of spreading my ultimate message of peace, love, and unity, as it was revealed to me through my writing and exploration. In this time of coronavirus, climate emergency, Black Lives Matter, Donald Trump, and seemingly human existential crisis, I feel my words and my message is right on time. I have been on a truly fascinating journey through my quest for the answers to life's questions. As I said at the beginning, I was born in Zimbabwe, which was a former British colony, which already points to so many of life's complexities, and one of them being the question of race, racism, and white supremacy. This question became my earliest obsession as a growing child and mind, and living in a racially and economically divided country only intensified these questions, and my feeling of separation from white people or those who seemed different to me. However, as Providence would have it, moving to the United Kingdom proved to be the perfect opportunity to learn more beyond racial separation, particularly as a result of living in a place like London, where I was when we came to the United Kingdom. It is safe to say that near enough every nationality in the world can be found in London. It's such a melting pot and a truly great city and an amazing social experiment because it was there that I started meeting all kinds of people, and my idea of what it is to be a human being started to shift beyond the binary black and white world I had experienced growing up in Zimbabwe. And it was beginning to have this expanded view and richer life experience that first ignited my passion to write. The questions that I had, the observations I was making of life, its complexity, injustice, the questions of race, love, it all came together in my first book. And the fundamental realization became what I call the dichotic dilemma. And this realization is what I want to share with you. It's right at the heart of life, right at the center. The catharsis of writing the first book was truly liberating, but the journey was not over, and I soon fell back into the quest of wanting to find out more. What's the purpose of life? What's the point of it all? What are we doing here? This led me to places like Landmark, which was a personal development program I attended for a few years, who are also dedicated to transforming the world. But ultimately, it was when I attended a meditation retreat called Vipassana that the real quantum shift in reality occurred. After this meditation retreat, I suffered what's called in the Western medical lexicon a psychotic episode. But I would argue that more esoteric systems describe it more accurately as a transpersonal experience or spiritual awakening. And it was through this experience and the phenomenon of being in this transcended state that inspired the final book, The Dichotic Dilemma, The Fabric of Life, the fourth dimension from duality to reality. It was through this book and experience that I discovered my greater purpose, my deeper purpose, and the deeper purpose of human existence, beyond the perception of human suffering and strife. And it is through that experience that I discovered my true calling, to be a messenger of love and peace in the world. And it's all detailed in these books. My journey from being a terrified little African black boy, seeing himself separate and different from the whites, to a fully realized human being who wants to bring transformation to the world. That is what this YouTube channel will be dedicated to, creating a conversation of transformation in the world. We are literally living in the center of darkness in this time. With the threat of COVID, as I've already mentioned, seemingly worsening racial tensions with all that's happening in America and around the world. The Black Lives Matter movement, sparked by the brutal murder in broad daylight of George Floyd and the whole history of black subjugation. The equally vociferous counter-attack by those whites who feel threatened by it all. The general rise of the far right in the West, Donald Trump, the crisis in Yemen, the migrant crisis, the impending economic collapse at the hands of the coronavirus pandemic. Civilization itself seems at risk. Brexit. It's clear to me that if we do not learn to redefine how we see each other as human beings, we might not get through these troubles, and the future looks as bleak as it could be, not to mention the climate crisis. Peace on earth, justice for all, fair governments, racial equality. Can we ever achieve these things? This has been my personal quest. Can we achieve these things? As an African first, I hope for and pray for a transformed Africa from the dark and ongoing history of the pillaging and plundering of that continent and its people, millions of whom are still locked in absolute poverty. I hope for a transformed world for them. However, as a human being, ultimately, I hope for a transformed world for everyone. Economic justice, peace, love. Can we truly ascend in our consciousness to realize these things in our human existence? Well, this is what I believe I've been placed here to do. I've been placed here to ask these questions and find out, and I dedicate the rest of my life and this channel to finding out and asking about these questions. I stand on the shoulders of giants like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Mandela. And as Mandela said in his later years, he had done his part and the rest was up to the future generations. I heed his instruction today. So please support my channel. Please support this channel and this message. Share it far and wide. Please buy and read the books. Let's truly start a conversation of transformation on this planet. All our lives depend on it. Thank you very much.